host Cheryl Hentz. Very pleased to have you joining us on this edition. I'm also pleased to welcome this show is set in, it's going to be split into two segments, but the guests that I'm having on in this first segment, this is their first time here, but it certainly will not be their last. We're going to be talking about their cause, which is bringing an Oshkosh Kids Museum to the area. And so we're going to chat about that and find out their progress and so forth. And then in the next segment of the show, we're going to be talking about people at the way other end of the age spectrum. We're going to be talking with someone from the Oshkosh Seniors Center. So happy to have you. To my right is Board President Lisa Heller, and to her right is Board Vice President Tina Fillmore. Welcome. Thank you to both of you.
Thank you for having us.
They are on the board for the Oshkosh Kids Museum, and throughout the segment we will be putting that website up on the screen. For those of you listening via radio, it's oshkoshkidsmuseum.com. All right, well, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Want to find out how this all came about. Tell us, you know, who started this idea? Why did you think about this idea? Tell us about how the concept came about.
Well, we both thought of it, honestly, separately. So we were both working on this project, not really knowing each other, and we actually were introduced through Sean Fitzgerald, who recognized we were both working on the same kind of project, and he put us together, and we decided, hey, let's join resources and start this thing together. So, Tina, you've been working on it for how long?
Probably over a year or so.
Okay.
And I started and just kind of got from business people to business people, and then met up with Lisa, and then we put our resources together. Just kind of gone from there.
And what resources did you have? What were you bringing to the table? Just ideas, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ideas, and then connections of business owners in the area, and then they would say, oh, you need to talk to this person, and you need to talk to this person, and then we just kind of got ideas.
And so you've been working on it a little over a year. Lisa, how long have you been kind of toying with this idea?
I would say I probably started last winter, so about the same time period. I think we were introduced around May of last year then.
Yeah, so maybe a little longer. My time frame is
I think we went around May. And we actually established as a corporation in July. At the very end of July, we became essentially a legal entity. And then in September, we were awarded our 501c3 status. October, we got our Wisconsin Charitable Organization status approved.
Oh.
So that actually all happened very fast. Everybody had said it was going to take a long time, but it did not.
So the 501c3, that gives you nonprofit status. That's from the federal government. What was the other one that you mentioned?
Wisconsin Charitable Organization status.
I've not heard of that. What does that do for you?
So that just means we can legally collect donations in the state of Wisconsin. So
is
even
that
if you're
needed,
not,
even though you've got a 501c3?
No, we wouldn't have needed it, but we applied for it thinking the 501c3 would take much longer. We were told it would essentially take 12 to 18 months. That didn't happen. It actually came in quicker than the Wisconsin Charitable Organization status. But if you're not a 501c3, in order to legally collect donations in Wisconsin, you would have to have your Wisconsin Charitable Organization status.
And so that's a benefit to you because you're a non-taxable, you don't pay taxes then. Even when your building is built, you won't pay property taxes and that kind of thing. And it's a benefit to anyone who donates to the cause, which they're going to be needing money, folks, so we'll talk about that in a minute. But the benefit to donors is that it's tax deductible for you because they are a bona fide 501c3. So why did you think that Oshkosh needed this? And I know Appleton has a children's museum. Fond du Lac used to have one, I think. I don't know if they still do.
They do.
Do they? Okay.
Yep.
So what was it about Oshkosh that made you feel like we needed one here? And how will yours differ from the others?
Yeah. Well, do you want to take the first
I'll
part
take
of
the
question?
first one. Sure.
All right.
So I am not originally from Oshkosh. I moved here in 2017, and I had a 3-year-old at the time, and there really wasn't anywhere to go. Of course, you mentioned Appleton Museum. Unfortunately, with Appleton Museum, the parking is not the best. And the museum is huge, and so it was very crowded at times, and for a little 3-year-old, it kind of gets overwhelming. And then we've gone to the Fond du Lac one, and it's smaller and it's nicer, but Oshkosh really needs something for the kids, and that's all I ever heard when I came here was there's nowhere really for little kids to go, especially during the winter. And so that's what kind of brought the idea up, that we need to kind of bring something to Oshkosh. So
I think personally we should all go into hibernation in winter. That's what that's what I think we should do, but that's just me. So you got all your legal status and everything taken care of. So what are you working on right now?
Oh, that's a great question.
Thank
you. Yeah, a lot is the answer. So right now, our overall goal is to launch in 2027, which is pretty aggressive to get something up and going that quick. But I think it's really important for us to establish ourselves quickly in the community. So right now, what we've just done is we've partnered with Fire Escape for a donor wall in order to
with
start.
Fire Escape.
Yep.
Tell us what Fire Escape is.
That is a local business downtown that is going to do our tiles for.
Yeah, they typically do pottery, and they fire them in their kilns, and so this time they're going to do their tiles for us. So we'll have two or three different size tiles that people
and
can.
these are going to be wall tiles or floor
Yes.
tiles?
Wall tiles. So when we
Okay.
get our building and everything, they'll be put on the wall for
Okay.
people to see as they walk through.
And so it'll be a donor wall. And I know I looked it up. There's a space on your website where people can go to donate and things like that. I didn't go far enough to see. I'm assuming you accept credit cards,
Yes.
right? And debit
Yes.
cards, and
Absolutely.
you accept any other, like Venmo, whatever it is. All these new things. Do you accept any of those, or is it just,
Well, I know there's PayPal on there
Okay.
for people who want to use PayPal.
Okay.
So.
all right? And so the donor wall, is there any? I know some places, in order to have a piece on the floor, or in this case, a piece on the wall, you've got to donate a certain amount.
Yes.
Be it $500, $1,000, and on up. What is your donor level for getting something on the wall?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's actually going to be 3. We're going to have an 8x8 tile. That's going to be our founder's level at $1,000.
Okay.
A 6x6, which will be our ambassador level, and that'll be $500. And then an associate level, which will be a 4x4 tile at $250. We wanted to make sure there was a range, so that any small business or individual that wanted to participate could.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so $1,000, $500, or $250, and the sizes are 8x8, 6x6, and 4x4. That said, they will happily and very gratefully accept any donations of any amount.
Yes.
When you're undertaking something like this, you've got to do a capital campaign. I'm sure that you've been twirling those ideas around in your heads. And you're right, 2027, I mean, it sounds like a long time out, but we're already in the second month of 2025, so what's the next step that you're doing? It's great that you're partnering up with a local business, Fire Escape. When do you plan to kick off a capital campaign, and how long do you plan to run it? And tell us about the mechanics of your fundraising efforts.
Well, the truth is we really need some help with it. So right now our board consists of 6 people. We are looking to add board members. We're hoping that we can find some people with experience, especially in that domain, as we move forward, because obviously 2025 and 2026 is going to be all about fundraising and getting involved in the community. So there's that piece of it that is like, yep, we've got to fundraise and get money here so we can start our physical location, where we're trying to actually get a launch committee started to help us with that. So this is kind of my plea for anyone listening. If you have experience in such things, to please reach out. There's actually a spot on the website where you can submit a form to volunteer.
Okay.
And then a community events committee as well, which is more going to be focused on getting us involved in local children's events to get our name out there so that people understand we are out here, we're established, what we're trying to do. And the very first one, we actually are partnering with Caramel Crisp. They're going to be doing a local children's author book fair on Saturday, June 7th. And they have said they would be very happy for us to partner with them and do a create your own story event for kids at it. So those are really the things we're going to be looking to do in 2025 and 2026 is kind of community events to establish ourselves in that field of, you know, children's events, and then what we can offer, as well as obviously a launch committee to try to get us to the point where we have the money, the capital to launch our physical building.
How much I know that this is a really tough question. It's kind of wide open, but what's the goal, the dollar amount that you're trying to raise? Have you thought about that, or?
We have, and we actually have somebody creating for us some pretty big master spreadsheets, our financial projections. So right now, you know, what I've determined is we'd need a minimum of $500,000 to even think about opening. But what, you know, we've been talking with like the Oshkosh Area Community Foundation, and what they have said is they like to see at least 3 years of funding before a nonprofit launches, which, you know, we would need at least then 1.5 if we're going to say, yep, we need enough money to run for our first 3 years without making a profit.
So, okay. So you're thinking it's going to cost $500,000 a year?
No, just to establish.
All right.
So that would be
that is for your brick and mortar
Ex-
only. Okay.
Exactly.
So 1.5 million.
Yes, would be enough to, you know, establish that first year and run for the next 2 years as well.
Okay. You kind of threw me for a loop there when
Yeah.
you said
I know.
it's spread out over 3 years. I'm thinking,
Exactly,
hey, how does
because
that
it
work?
includes all the costs of the exhibits that we would have
Sure.
to put into the building. But of course, that's just the initial estimates. Like I said, we've got somebody helping us create financial projection spreadsheets that will be able to project out the first 3 years, our income statement, our balance statements, and realign, you know, what would we need to charge per visit and how many members would we have to have, and we can change those different variables if we want to buy versus rent. So it's definitely, it's not set in stone.
So, okay, buy versus rent. So you are not necessarily looking then to break ground and build something.
No.
You are, okay, well, that would be cheaper.
Yeah.
You know,
Unfortunately, building right now is
that would
pretty
be
expensive.
significantly
Yeah,
cheaper.
so-
And there are a lot of buildings in Oshkosh
Yes.
that you
Right.
could look at that
Absolutely.
could probably pretty easily be retrofitted for your purposes. Because that was one of my questions. Did you have a location in mind? So, okay.
We get that asked a lot. So right
Yes.
now we're just kind of seeing what funding we can get, and then kind of, we still have an idea, like, we're still getting ideas of where would be a good location. If anybody has any thoughts or ideas, we'd love to hear them, and kind of looking around Oshkosh, you know. Somebody might know a good place. So.
Yeah. How large of a space are you anticipating that you're going to need? Like, what kind of square footage are we talking about here?
Yeah, so my overall goal would be around 10,000 square feet, but it could range from 5 to 15. So, you know, in order to launch, we would like at least 5,000 square feet with the anticipation that we would grow. So, you know, like I said, the most important thing in 2027 is to establish a place, and then we can always move locations later as we grow with the community.
Sure, yeah. Okay, so very good. So have you spoken to the city about this at all?
We have not.
And?
No, we haven't talked to the city yet.
Oh, you have not?
No, we
Okay.
have not.
All right, and? Is that on your agenda?
Yes, at some point.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You might want to do it sooner rather than later, because they may have some ideas on buildings for you and that kind of thing. And I don't know, I don't run the city, I don't work for the city, I do my own thing. But, you know, there might be, I'm sure you're seeking out grants, you know, and there might be some funds for something like this. I know that all local municipalities got a bunch of money from COVID. I think that's pretty much expended already, but, you know, I mean, it would not hurt to just talk to the city and say, hey, what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they can point you in the right direction. All right, you had mentioned also that once the museum is up and running, you wanted to do some community outreach programs. So tell us about that.
Absolutely. That's actually my favorite thing to talk about. And gets back to how is our museum going to be different than what people have already at their disposal here in this area, which is our community outreach programs. So I've kind of been to almost all of the children's museums in the state at this point and bringing some of those best ideas back to Wisconsin, or to Oshkosh, Wisconsin from around Wisconsin.
Yep.
We want to establish a pay-as-you-can cafe. Madison's Children's Museum has one of those already.
Well, tell us what that is.
Yes, pay as you can. That is, so if you go into their cafe area, you will see signs posted that says, pay whatever you can for your meal. You can pay a little, you can pay a lot, you can pay nothing at all. There's no staff there to check you out. You take what you want to eat. There's a self-checkout. There's no prices marked, and you determine the price you're going to pay for the meal that you are eating. It guarantees that nobody who needs a meal goes without a meal. So the idea is we would stock our pay-as-you-can cafe with lots of healthy, nutritious foods for children, thinking about things like apples, bananas, milk, string cheese, fortified low sugar cereals, broccoli, you know, all these things that are really great for kids' brain development, that are essential for their brain development and for learning. We want to make sure that our kids here in Oshkosh have access to that, because there is a gap here. Absolutely.
So who will have access to this? Just people who are coming to the museum?
Anyone. So the point would be for it to be up front of whatever, you know, building we would have, and anybody would be obviously allowed to come in and eat. With the goal obviously being, you know, our main concern is ensuring that the kids have food to eat. So it would be open not just to members or paying guests, but anybody could come in and ensure that they have food for their kids.
Well, I see one problem with that. I see a couple problems with
I'm
that.
sure,
And I don't want to be
sure.
a downer here, but depending on where you're going to be located, I mean, you know, we've got, I think, a rather significant homeless problem in the city of Oshkosh. And I'm not trying to say don't give food to the homeless, but if you're going to have this up front and anyone can, you know, partake of this, it's kind of designed for kids. And yet you might have other people taking stuff. And so, I don't know, have you given some thought to that? Or?
I have. But I guess if you go on to the one in Madison, right? I've been there. I didn't see any large population of homeless hanging out there.
Where are they located? Where?
Just in the city. I'm not sure. Like, you know, Madison, I don't know that area very well. So I mainly saw families with children. That was all I saw there.
Okay.
So for whatever reason, it's working there. On top of that, they do post signs that say we're not going to turn anyone away that needs a meal. And I think that's a great policy. So it's hard for me to say, no, let's not feed a homeless person that's hungry.
Yeah.
It's not our target audience, obviously, but if somebody comes in hungry, are we really going to turn them away a free banana?
Yeah, well,
you know?
No, I'm just saying I would hate for someone to just come in and grab a whole bunch of stuff, eat it and then leave, or just take it and leave. You know, I mean, I'm just thinking about it's designed for the kids and maybe their parents, and so it's just, you know, it's one of those ethical and moral dilemmas, you know. So
yes, I've definitely had other people be concerned with what if people take advantage of it, and kind of my response to that is, well, you know, the kind of foods we're not aiming to have some kind of luxury cafe here. If you can afford to take your family out and buy pizzas that's probably what you're going to do. You're not going to come to the Oshkosh Kids Museum for free bananas and broccoli, right?
Right,
And if you
yeah.
do, you're going to get tired of it pretty fast.
Yeah.
So when you think about it from that perspective of people who are financially capable of buying their own meals are going to get really sick
Yeah.
of eating cereal.
Okay. What other community outreach programs?
Yeah, so the other ones are the first of the month free books, where any kid between 0 and 12 we would stock for can come in on the first of the month and pick out a free book. So that kind of just ensures that all kids have access to books at home to read. And then the toy library.
Toy library.
Yes, I'm
Okay.
excited about that one. That idea comes out of the Black Earth Children's Museum. And they're very unique. They're a town the size of like 2,000 people is their population, and they have a kids museum. It's fantastic. And they have a toy library there where anybody can come in, check out toys for a month, bring them back, check out other toys. And it's a great program to ensure that all kids have access to developmentally appropriate toys at home.
Sure. Okay. So, what do you need right now? I know you talked about you need volunteers.
I need people, absolutely.
How large do you want your board to be?
I would ideally like to see at least 10 of us
10,
by
yeah.
the end of the year.
And you've got what now? 4, 5, 6, something.
It's about
It's
6. Yeah, we
Yeah,
have 6
there's
people
6
right
of
now.
us.
Okay.
So if we can extend it, just to get a couple more people with skills
Sure.
that could help us launch. would
And
be
men
great.
are encouraged to apply.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I did notice that it was just women right now, and that kind of goes along with maternal instincts and that kind of thing. But men have good ideas, and so yeah. What else do you need? Volunteers, obviously money. What other things? Suggestions on places
Right.
to go. What else do you need? If you had a magic wand, if this was a magic wand and you just kind of waved it around, what would you hope would appear?
The Children's Museum.
All right, I asked for that.
That's an open question there.
I asked for that. On
I'll
a
take
smaller
that.
scale, what would you hope would appear?
Honestly, I would hope that what would appear was really committed organizations and individuals who want to see this happen. I know that they're out there. It's just a matter of getting this message out there to them.
Sure.
And having them step forward and say, yes, I absolutely agree. We want a children's museum in our community, and I'm willing to help support it. So
Okay.
whether that's through money or volunteer work or ideas, whatever, we will take it all. What we desperately want is committed individuals to the project.
Okay, wonderful. Well, again, the website is oshkoshkidsmuseum.com. You can go and make a donation online. It is tax deductible, 100% tax deductible for you. So that's a little incentive, so please do that. This is a wonderful thing that these ladies are trying to start for our community, and let's try and get behind them and help them out however we can. Again, oshkoshkidsmuseum.com. Any parting thoughts?
I don't think so. I mean, just we need help. I mean, we
Yeah.
need people to volunteer.
Yeah.
We need sponsors. We
Yeah.
need, to get this really going. We need the help of Oshkosh.
Sure,
You know.
sure. Well, and it is for Oshkosh,
Right.
so Oshkosh should step up.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right, ladies, thank you so very much. And keep us posted on how things are happening. The logo is up on the screen right now, and I'd love to have you back later on when you're a little bit further down the road and we can talk about your progress. And at that point, some of your needs may still be the same, but other needs may have popped up. So, all right. And I want to thank my nephew Jason for this idea. He somehow, I'm not going to share the story of how we met, but he met Lisa and he said, hey, this is a possible good idea for your show. So here we are. So thank you, Jason. And thanks again for being here.
Thank you
and
for having us.
we will be right back, and we're going to take a short break. And then when we do return on the other side of the break, we'll be chatting with Jane Wells from the Oshkosh Seniors Center. So we'll be right back.
Problems, the ones ones nobody talks about at cocktail parties. We go looking for them. No matter the obstacles, no matter the odds, we surround a community's most critical problems, and we fight. United Way fights for the health, education, and financial stability of every person in every community. Will you?
Some of the slides.
Nearly half of children with autism wander away from safe places such as their home or school. If you ever see a child walking alone, remember the 3 S's. Stop to help, seek assistance from police, stay until they arrive. If a child with autism is missing, immediately search places that pose the most danger, such as nearby water and busy streets. To learn more, visit missingkids.com/aware.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. Let 211 be your guiding light for help with food, healthcare, and other resources.
211, how can I help you?
Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211, get connected, get help.
Roll over. Chance high five. All right.
When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover all the things that make them unique.
And your mother and...
I am totally a hot person. Right, guys? Thanks for being honest. They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love. Adopt pure love at theshelterpetproject.org.
Welcome back, everybody, to the second half of Eye on Oshkosh. Joined now, Jane Wells is here. She is the program supervisor at the Oshkosh Seniors Center. And I think this is probably the first time you've been on. Maybe once, long time ago,
I
but
think this is my first time on
yeah,
Eye on Oshkosh.
but we've done other things
Yes.
periodically
Yes.
throughout the years. So anyway, welcome.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you here. Wanted to have folks from the communities, from the Oshkosh Seniors Center on because it is a wonderful community resource. This is their 50th year, hard to believe. And, you know, there really is something for everybody. So we're going to talk about some of the things that they have to offer and find out all the particulars about how old you need to be, where you need to live, all that good stuff. So anyway, yes, 50th anniversary, and we've got a little slide to put up to show that, too. So there we go. Yeah. And that's a nice shot of the Senior Center from the water.
Correct. Not a view people typically get to see, but it's still kind of neat. And, you know, I couldn't help but listening to Lisa talk about, you know, trying to raise money. And I thought 50 years ago, that's what was happening for the Senior Center. Just trying to get enough funds together. And, you know, we started out in one room in a church and then went to Marion Manor. And then they did another push to build the building where we are now, only it was going to be someplace else and much bigger. And then the funding didn't all come through. So kind of the same, you know, where they're at now is where the Senior Center was 50 years ago.
Very grassroots.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that you started out like in a little room or two of a church. And
yes.
How long before you started out and you got into the building that you're currently in?
Well, 75 was, you know, the start, and 93 the building was built.
Wow.
So
about 18 years.
Yeah.
If my math is correct. Yeah, 18
Yeah.
years. That's a long time.
It is.
But it's a beautiful facility. And
yes, we are very fortunate.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about, you know, let's do an overview of the center because it is one of the largest and most visited senior centers in the entire state of Wisconsin. We've got some statistics that we can put up and take a look at those. There we go. So let's talk about the highlights from just last year.
Okay.
Can we see that again, please?
Well, of course, you know, oftentimes in organizations such as ours, everything is measured by COVID, pre-COVID and post-COVID. And so...
Wait, hook that back up before you.
We're trying to get back up here. Okay, so we are just now
There you go.
finally getting back to some of our pre-COVID numbers. But, 2024, we had 50,313 visits. That's not individuals, but that's individuals who came that many times. 31,000 of those are for fitness and wellness because, of course, as you age, if you don't have a level of fitness or wellness, it's a rougher road. And so we really want to encourage people to come in and just start moving however they can. 8,000 people come to our educational programs, 7,000 social events and programs. Many times when people think of senior centers, they only think bingo, cards, and games. And yes, we have that, and people are very enthusiastic about that. But we also have a lot of other opportunities for people to learn things, do things, create a community. Behind a lot of our programming is about brain health and keeping those brains active and just helping to stave off any kind of decline.
Sure. So who can attend the Seniors Center? Because it's not just for people from Oshkosh.
No, it's not. Anybody who is age 50 or older can attend the Senior Center. So we are very fortunate in Oshkosh because our city helps to support us. So the Senior Center does receive some tax levy dollars. So when a person comes to the Senior Center, again, it doesn't matter where they live, but people who live within the city of Oshkosh and have already paid into the tax roll pay just a little bit less than somebody from someplace else.
Okay.
So we have people from all, Amro, Neenah, Menasha, Appleton even come down and do things with us. So it doesn't matter where you live. Anybody is welcome.
Sure.
Just got to be 50 and older.
And, there's no membership fees to join, correct?
Correct.
It's just you come and it's kind of a pay-as-you-go sort of thing.
It is.
If you want to attend one of the workshops, a lot of stuff is free.
Yes.
But if there is a charge for it, you pay when you get there.
Correct.
And if you don't want to go, well, then you don't have to pay anything.
You don't, right, exactly. Like you said, much of our educational programming and our wellness programming, where we bring an attorney in or we bring in a physician or somebody who's an expert in their field, most of that is all free programming. As an example, we have social things that are free as well that we get either sponsorship money for or have donors in the background. We have a piano bar with mock cocktails coming up in February, and that is free to anybody who wants to attend.
Okay.
So we try to have a balance. Obviously, we still do have to generate some revenue to keep those doors open.
Sure.
So we do have programs that there are fees to.
Okay.
Especially if it involves supplies and things like that.
Well, let's go back to fitness and wellness because that seems to be a very big thing for not just seniors, but for the people, the seniors who are coming to your place. So we've got slide number 5 that we can bring up, and this is just an example of some of the things that people can do to stay fit at the Senior Center, right?
Correct. We have a wonderful chair yoga class.
What class?
Chair yoga.
Oh, chair yoga. Okay.
Yes. And cardio drumming, which you think, what, you're beating sticks on a ball, but it actually can be a really good workout.
Oh my gosh, that's a friend of mine in that picture.
Well, that's great.
I think.
Yep. And then we, we have our fitness center
itself,
which has cardio equipment. The new steps, the treadmills, the stair stepper, like what she's doing, the recumbent bikes. All of that type of stuff, and then also the strength training room, which all has life fitness weight machines on it and things like that. And of course, as we age, our muscles shrink on us.
Yeah, they do.
And it's so important to be doing some strength training, just to keep that stronger.
All right. If we can go to slide number 6, please. This gives some information about the fitness center.
Right.
Here's some more things.
Right. So you see the new steps in the fitness center picture, but then the other ones are exercise classes. And we run many of those throughout the day, all different levels, from a little bit more intense cardio classes to pretty much a seated class, and you're just starting out. And we really want people to just come in with where they're at. Our goal is to just meet people where they're at. And one thing I will say about our fitness center is it really is a no judgment zone. Everybody in there just respects that everybody else is just trying to do the things that they can do. And you know, and you're working out with people who are relatively your age, which is a good thing, because our bodies don't always do what a younger body can do.
They don't always do what we want them to do. Let's
that
put it
as well. Right, exactly. So our classes are a lot of fun. Something new we're going to be trying is kind of mini pickleball. We haven't ventured into that yet, but it'll just be one-on-one versus, you know, the teams and things like that. So we're always kind of changing things up. Personal training. You wouldn't think that seniors would be interested in that, but they really are. And they want to work on specific things. You know, one thing we really want to work on is falls prevention, because when a senior,
That'll
when a
be
person,
slide 8.
sorry.
That's okay. There we go. All right, so this is a Biodex fall risk screening.
Right.
So that has been at the seniors, I forget what it is, the conference or something.
The expo.
The expo in October, I believe.
Yes.
So it's $10, and what does that machine tell you?
A person would stand on this machine, and it has you go through several different motions, and it when it's all said and done, what it does is rates the likelihood of you falling in the next year compared to other people within your own age group. And it says you're, you know, only 10% likely to fall or higher. And then once they have that data, then the person conducting the screening will say, here's my recommendation. I think you need to start here in this class. You know, your hips are really weak, or, you know, your core is really weak.
That machine can tell you all of that?
Yes, yes.
Wow.
And that was purchased in conjunction with the Oshkosh Fire Department. It was a collaborative effort to really try to reduce falls, because of course the fire department goes on so many calls for falls. And so, but I would encourage anybody. I had it done, and I should have another one done. You just, you know, you can keep on doing them just to kind of see if there's been any change throughout time. Just get a baseline. And
once someone has it done, Jane, how often do you think that they should be kind of rechecking themselves?
So it all depends on what they're doing. So if you have it done and they've identified areas where, you know, you probably really need to get working, and then you go and do that. You start lifting weights, or you start coming to the exercise classes. Take it again 6 months later and just see what changes have happened in your body to gain that strength or that balance.
So someone does this, and it says it just takes 2 minutes to measure all of that. And I think that that's really great, and it's cheap. It's very inexpensive at $10. So well worth the money. That is being spent for that. Now, do you then, I come in, I stand on the machine, you figure if things out. Do you then, or does someone then make recommendations on what exercise programs I should be in?
Yes, yes. They'll tell you what classes you might want to consider. They'll tell you specific machines within the fitness center that would benefit you. Yes, they make recommendations as to how to improve the areas where there are weaknesses.
Okay, I think that's really a wonderful thing. And who monitors this? It's not one of your staff members, is it? Is it a medical professional or someone on staff?
It's a staff person who's been highly trained in it. And you know, the machine spits out all kinds of data and things like that, and they kind of go from there.
Okay, all right, excellent. Now, talking about your exercise classes, is there a charge for those?
Well, for people who are 65 and older and have Medicare, a lot of times Medicare plans include fitness reimbursement plans, you know, Silver Sneakers, Optum, I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. So then that all is covered. Any visit to the fitness center or exercise classes are all covered under that fitness reimbursement plan. If you don't have a fitness reimbursement plan, yes, there is a fee. You can buy a pass for a month for $20 if you're a resident, or $30 if you're a non-resident, or you can pay a daily fee. But with those fitness reimbursement plans, you can go to the fitness center 3 times in a day and the exercise classes 3 times in a day. You can go to other facilities and the senior center. It's not exclusive. You can go multiple places with those fitness reimbursement plans.
Okay, wonderful. Now, with the fall prevention, with that Biodex machine, do you work in conjunction with the fire department and their app that I know Chief Stanley talked about when he was here last?
Yes.
And by the way, I'm sure going to miss him now that he's moving to Colorado and
Yes.
accepting a position there. But he's been on a few times talking about the Nimble app. And if you aren't aware of what that is, Nimble is spelled N-Y-M-B as in boy, L. And you just go on your smartphone to wherever your app store is and just download Nimble. Again, it's N-Y, N as in Nancy, N-Y-M-B-L.
Correct.
And it's a fascinating app. It really is. I mean, it tells you a lot of stuff.
Some of it you don't want to hear, but right?
To fully protect ourselves,
I agree.
we need to hear it.
I agree.
So how does that work in conjunction with Nimble then?
Well, we certainly promote the use of Nimble and things like that. Again, the more information people can have about their bodies and what's happening, how many steps are you taking? We're all wearing our fitness watches and things like that.
They're more than just a watch.
Yes, exactly. How good of sleep are you getting? All of that stuff. The more information a person can have, because before any changes can happen, there has to be an awareness, right? That something might need to change.
Yep.
And, hopefully after that awareness then becomes motivation and habit and all all those other good things that bring on changes.
Okay, wonderful. And by the way, the website for the Oshkosh Seniors Center is oshkoshwi.gov/seniorservices. And I'll repeat that hopefully another couple of times. I'll remember to do it before we end. But oshkoshwi.gov/seniorservices.
Can I just add one more thing?
Yes,
Sorry.
please.
So again, we're very fortunate. We have 2 buildings as a part of the Oshkosh Seniors Center. And so the fitness and the exercise classes and actually our wood shop are located in our north building. And
It's on the same property.
Yes.
It's the same campus.
It's across the parking lot. Exactly.
Yeah, it's there's a parking lot in between.
Correct.
And a boat launch.
Right. But the fitness center and the exercise class, that opens at 7 a.m. The other building opens at 8 a.m. So for those early morning, I want to get up and exercise people. That's not me, but...
It's not me either, I'll tell you.
It is open at 7 a.m.
And the main building then is open at 8.
Correct.
Okay, perfect. So in that, you mentioned it already, so let's talk about the the woodworking shop. There we have a wonderful picture of just some of the stuff.
Right, we are so fortunate to have this. And the instructors there, the volunteer instructors are very, very highly awarded instructors. They've earned lots of kudos for the work that they do, and they share these skills. So sometimes when somebody retires, when we meet people, it's always, what do you do? What do you do? And when you no longer do that, who are you? And so they need to develop or want to develop, now that they have time, more hobbies and interests and things like that. The woodshop definitely is a tight community of people who, all walks of life come in there and looking for something to do. Then they start carving or they start working on wood projects and things like that. We have wonderful volunteers who work in that wood shop. The carving is a big part of it. The wood burning or pyrography is a big part of it. People coming in and using the machines and working on their own projects. They've downsized their home. They no longer have their great big workshop, but we have all the tools here that they can use. Same with the wood carving and the wood burning. We have they're welcome to use tools until they decide, this is something I really want to do, and then invest in their own. So
if no one has, it takes someone who's got absolutely zero experience with this. But they walk in, they take a little tour, and we'll talk about the tours in a minute, but they take a tour and they say, John Doe over there, he's making something that looks kind of cool, and Jane Doe, well, she's doing something else. Do they take absolute novices who've never picked up a saw or a carving thing in their lives?
So what happens, the first step in there to using any of the machines is you have to go through a safety training course.
Totally makes sense.
Yes. And then after that, then they'll have a learn to use the scroll saw class, learn to use the bandsaw class, that type of stuff, where you're making a project, but you're actually learning how to use the tool. So they do take novices and beginners and teach them and walk them through step by step how to do this thing, all with safety in mind, of course.
Okay. All right, excellent. Well, let's move on to technology.
Okay.
There's, some people, I don't know. Well, there it is. Digital literacy, improved quality of life.
Yes.
I mean, you can't do much of anything these days without a computer.
Right.
Or a smartphone, which is a computer of its own kind.
Right.
But, and by the way, one-on-one instruction for $2 for a 45-minute session?
I know, exactly.
Wow.
Well, of course, with seniors, one of our biggest concerns too is isolation.
Yes.
And if they don't have a device where they can connect with their family or their grandkids or their friends, they can become fairly isolated. And so we try to keep it extremely affordable so that anybody can do it. But yes, they'll work one-on-one. You bring your phone in, you bring your laptop in, you bring your tablet in. The woman on the slide that's shown was having trouble with her Cricut. Wasn't quite sure how to
with
get
her
it.
what?
Her Cricut. It's a cutting machine, and so
I don't even know what that is. It's on a computer. It's something on a.
Well, yes, but it hooks up to the machine. Then you do the program on the computer, and then it hooks up to the machine, and the machine cuts out whatever it is you want it to cut out.
Oh.
A lot of people use it for vinyl or iron-on T-shirt type things. But
okay.
She had an issue. And our tech person was able to help her out, and now we're actually doing Cricut classes because other people have expressed interest in wanting to learn how to do it.
Well, so with these one-on-one instructions, I'm assuming that they have to be scheduled. You can't just walk in and say, "Hey, here's my $2. I want 45 minutes of training."
We do ask that people call and make an appointment.
Okay.
And then we just actually started a drop-in time for 1 hour on Tuesday and 1 hour on Thursday at 11. But the drop-in time is different. It's like, geez, I can't get my email to open. It's something that can be resolved in a relatively short period of time, 15 minutes or less. And that one you don't need an appointment for, but it's only during those very specific hours. Otherwise, an appointment is needed, and many of the people who come to these have been coming, they have their notebooks and they're taking notes.
Yeah,
and they've come week after week after week and have progressed in their skills, and that's our goal.
What if somebody, okay, so people know how to use the computer, but we get so many things that pop up on our screens, and my father-in-law just always wanted to click, 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 he's, he's just tapping and he's clicking and he's, and then he's like, I need help. I did something.
Right.
His computer wouldn't work. And we kept saying, stop clicking on things.
Right.
Stop doing that.
Right.
There's so many scams out there. There's so many things that we have to be aware of.
Yes.
Do you ever do like a little seminar on?
Yes. In fact, we do every month. So in addition to the one-on-one technology, we do presentations. I think the one coming up is on, it's time to buy a new phone, okay? What do you need to be looking for? What features do you want your phone? How are you going to be using your phone? So yes, we do educational presentations for larger groups, as well as the one-on-one tech.
When is that, Jane? Like during the month? Is it on a set day or?
Well, part of it depends on when the tech instructor has openings in the schedule. We do plan, it's always in our newsletter, so it is planned, a month at least out, and the topics are picked. But we frequently do things on scams because, we hear all the time of somebody who fell for it.
There's a lot to fall for.
Oh, it is. On Facebook, this person in your church group suddenly needs $5,000 and they reach out to you.
Yeah.
And that really happened. So yes.
It happens a lot.
We try to keep them educated and try to keep them safe without scaring people to the point of they don't want to use the technology.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's very, very true. So, so monthly seminars, and is there a charge for those?
No, those are free.
Those are free. Okay. Well, that's wonderful. And so the one that you have coming up is it coming up this month or coming up in March?
Well,
now I'm testing
every
you.
month they come up, yes. So,
but the one on buying phones comes up when?
I think that one is in March. So I apologize because we work on our newsletters so far in advance. We're finishing March, which is where my brain
I
has
understand.
been.
So the newsletter, by the way, is called The Current.
Yes.
Kind of like the current in the river.
That's it.
So
You got it.
you can pick those up at the Senior Center. I see them around at grocery stores.
Right.
They're all over the place.
So our next one coming up is actually Thursday, February 20th, and this is on home safety with technology. So ring cameras, outdoor cameras, indoor cameras, all that different kinds of things to see how people can use technology to be safer or feel safer and have them help within their home.
Okay, wonderful. Let's see, what else is on my little list here of things? Holy cow. We've covered a lot and we're down to like 10 minutes. I think we're gonna make it.
Good.
Let's just touch real briefly on some of the classes that are offered as well for arts and crafts.
Okay, well, we have a wide variety. For somebody who is very skilled in art or for somebody who's a crafter. And we're fortunate to have a stained glass studio and a wonderful instructor.
Wow.
Marla Tan, who from Pedestrian Arts downtown, is our volunteer instructor. And she takes people who have no idea which end of the glass cutter to hold. And
that would be me.
Yeah, and it's
probably.
It's a lot of fun. So we have stained glass classes. I personally started to get into resin and glass art, and so now I've brought that to the center, and that is very popular. The classes fill up right away, but it's just a lot of fun. Making something to give as a gift to somebody. Needle felting has been very popular.
Wow. What about things like pottery?
So we do have a hands-on clay class, yes. We have kilns right on site to fire and things like that.
Wow.
So yeah, we don't have a wheel, but this is all. But they make beautiful pieces.
Sure. Yeah.
Very nice. Yes.
All right. And then some education. We kind of touched on that already, but wellness education, legal type education.
Yes.
Like, is it geared toward elder law? Is that what that is?
Yes, it is. Joe McClear, who is an attorney in town, who is an elder law specialist, comes in and talks about how to keep your estate out of probate, or what to do with your home, how to plan for long-term care, and he does a seminar monthly.
How to set up medical powers of attorney, and when those come into play, as opposed to when they don't come in. You name someone, but just because you name someone, that doesn't mean that they can just take over your medical care.
Correct.
And make decisions for you. You have to be declared incapable of taking care of yourself and making your but we all need it, because that could happen at any time to anybody.
Correct. And that's all free. We have legal one-on-one, where the attorney, Joe, again, will come in and meet with a person. You come in, he meets with you, makes recommendations. He's not doing papers or anything like that, but you come in with an issue and he will help you to troubleshoot it and give you some direction as to which to go. Again, completely free. So one thing I do want to talk about that's a little bit different is our ukulele group, or our ukulele music. So we, several years ago, had a brain fitness fair. The neurologists that came in started talking about how in the past they thought our brains at our age were what they were, that whatever was, that it couldn't grow anymore. Well, now, of course, they have learned that you can build pathways around the corrupted pathways. And so I started a ukulele program. Behind the ukulele program is all about brain health. Your left hand's doing one thing, your right hand's doing another, your music and your recalling, your brain's just firing all over the place. But this has grown to be so big. We had a wonderful donor who I made a proposal to, so I was able to buy 12 ukuleles so people can come in and just, rent a ukulele. We give their check back when they give us the ukulele back. Sure. So they don't have to.
So basically it's no cost.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
And we have beginner lessons, intermediate, advanced, beginner 2 lessons now.
What if people have arthritis in their hands and their
Right.
fingers, and they just don't have the manual dexterity that they once had? Because I mean that's needed for stuff like that, but probably not as much with a ukulele as like a full-blown guitar.
Correct. A
or something
ukulele
along
is
those
definitely
lines.
easier to play.
Okay.
There's only 4 strings versus 6. Some of the chords are only 1 finger, which is my favorite. But you know, does the arthritis impede? A little bit, but the more you start working those joints, the more motion they gain back. So.
Okay. All right. And then just social programs, you mentioned some of them before.
Right.
Also, one thing that I just found out is, and a group of my friends and I are going to be doing this, you can just gather a group of people together, bring in your own board games,
Yep.
and take advantage of the space.
Correct.
And that's at no cost, correct?
No,
Or
there is
there
a small fee for
a
that. I
small
want to
fee?
say $1.
Oh.
I
All
don't
right.
want to clean my house today, but we all want to get together to play cards. Let's go
That's-
down to the
that's
senior
right.
center. That's what we're talking about.
And then you do offer other card games.
Yes.
But you used to offer canasta. You don't anymore.
Nope.
What happened there?
Well, the group kind of aged out, and we tried to run it again, and nobody came.
Well, I'd come.
Well, there you go.
Okay.
You know, we're always looking for volunteers to lead things like
Yes,
that.
and that's slide 23. We've got that. Oh, we just had it up. Oh, there it is. Now it's back.
Yes, and like many organizations, we do rely heavily on our volunteers. They work our front desks, which is, you know, intensive, taking in money and scheduling, taking in but we so appreciate them. This is Bob Hoffman delivering newsletters. We
Okay.
print over 3,000 newsletters a month, and
Wow.
they're distributed within the center and also within the community. And then, of course, people who are donors to the Friends of the Oshkosh Senior Center, which is our fundraising arm, which does wonderful things for us, we'll mail them out to people when your donation is of a certain value.
Okay. All right. And then slide 26 just talks about, you know, where the center is located.
How do I get started?
Available tools.
Yeah,
And,
come on down, take a tour. We have paperwork to fill you out that gets you in our system. That way when you come,
Okay.
you just check in at the front desk.
All right.
And you're good to go.
And then I just want to mention one more thing, and it is an upcoming program on February 23rd. It's
Yes.
called Exploring Native American Cultural Heritage. And that's at 2 p.m. And that is actually, I'm assuming because of the size that you're expecting, that is going to be at the convention center.
Correct. And this
Okay.
is through an art board grant that we got, and the museum is a partner with us in it,
Okay.
and the Friends of the Oshkosh Seniors Center. And there is going to be a series. This is kind of the kickoff event, and it is talking about the archaeological dig at Menominee Park.
Okay.
And with representation from those who were involved in the dig, and then different tribal members as well coming in to just kind of speak about that. And then the plan, we have other workshops, all with Native American artists
Okay.
leading those workshops.
Perfect. All right. Very good. We got through everything, I think. It's been a fascinating 36 minutes or whatever it's been, and thank you so much for being
Oh,
here
well,
and
thank you
sharing
for
everything
having
that
me.
you guys do there.
Yeah,
it's a wonderful center that we have, and
It is.
we're very blessed to have it.
I
So
agree.
thank you again. Thanks
Thank
to
you,
my guests
Cheryl.
from earlier. Thank you to my crew, and as always, thanks to all of you, whether you're watching or listening. We will see you next time. Until then, take good care. Keep your eye on us. We've got our eye on Oshkosh.
Talk fast.